All right, we are back. And it's time for our figure ladies. So if there are any figure competitors who feel like throwing those heels on, don't be afraid. Bill will not leave fingerprints.
Okay, why don't we do this group in two groups? You know what I mean? So we have enough room, and then we can. So how many you want on here? Okay, why don't we do it here, and then the rest we'll do the second group.
We do 9?
Let's slide, yeah, do 9. Slide down.
Good to go. So our figure division came out of the fitness division way back when, because fitness was fantastic, obviously. However, as the girls in some cases got a little heavier or older, their joints couldn't take the routines. And people still wanted to compete. So, if you remember this, they tried everything. They tried that stepper thing.
Yep, they used to have to do 9 different
Instead of a
things.
routine, they tried the thing with the dots on the.
Well, they had to wear a cat suit for a routine for.
Yeah, you're right, the cat suit. I like that.
They'd have 3 suits for fitness for
I like that cat
a
suit.
couple years.
But there was a bunch of fitness activities that they were trying to think of something fitness related. And eventually Jim just said, well, we'll just do a division with the swimsuit, the suits. There was a 1 and 2 piece suit, but yet you had to get 2 suits back then.
3, they needed the black cat suit.
Well, no, when they went to figure only.
Okay.
Figure only, there was no activity. It was just the quarter turns. And I remember that the higher ups above him said, this will never work. And the writers called this division the no talent division. Because they said, what the hell, quarter turns? That's it? And to this day, when you and I are in Vegas at the USA, and 35 girls walk out and figure, I go, hey Jim, you know what, this class will never work.
This is my favorite division for the women.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It's a great balance of some muscle, balance, conditioning. It's a home run, absolutely. So the key is to help the judges pick you. And a part of that is the criteria. So why don't you lay out the criteria for this division?
This division, we are looking for nice shoulder structure, a nice V taper, clean lines. We want you lean with no striations, but everything separated. Don't want too much muscle or too big. And like I said, the conditioning is really important in this division. We don't want striated glutes. We don't want, you can have lines through your hamstrings, but once again, we don't want the striations. We don't want too much on the shoulders, where it's too lean and striated. So we're looking for lean, hard, in very good shape, but not that harder conditioning like the women's physique and the women's bodybuilding.
So you want muscle separation,
Yes.
not
Mu-
striation?
Right, muscle separation, good tone, and looking for real good shape and nice V-tape.
I can recall being at the Arnold Classic when the girls came out and they were starting to get too hard,
Yes.
and we were letting them.
Yes.
And I could, we pulled back on that, and the first time out, I could remember the trainers in the second and third row saying, pose soft, trying to get you guys to not tense the muscles so the striations wouldn't show, because it had gotten out of hand.
Yes.
And there's still a lot of women that you can see when they turn, they don't even squeeze their hamstrings or legs, they just push the glutes back and they don't do anything else with it, just to keep those lines from showing when you get in the condition you're supposed to be in.
So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Shoes. The judges don't care what size heel you wear. We wouldn't know the difference anyway. 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch. The key is you need to be able to walk in them. So whatever's comfortable to do your stances and walking, that works well. Clear like that works. A little bit of bling like that works. Good to go. As you start to come up, what suit colors do you see working best?
Once again, a lot of the lighter colors that are like yellows, whiter colors, we see the suit more than the physique then, a lot of times. So you want to stay, once again,
This deeper tone like this works well.
Yes.
yes,
That super dark red works well.
yes. But also a lot of times, blonde hair, lighter skin tone, sometimes the deeper colors might be a little too dark. So you know, you've got to learn your body and learn your physique and which colors match your hair, your skin tone best.
So one of the issues is that the suits must fit. It's a family affair. So it's got to fit correctly in the front, in the back, and on the top. There can't be certain body parts sticking out underneath or on the sides. These suits have to fit well. So if it means getting them tailored as you get closer to an event, then that's necessary. Okay? Careful with the suits. The amount of bling is important because what we don't want to see is a suit walking on stage. It's hard to then see you when that's the case. So what we've seen is that maybe something like this, bling would be suit-colored stones because they create a little bit of a flash, but they're not so overwhelming that we can't get past the suit to see you. The other thing to be careful is the design. A girl sent me once from Jersey a suit she was in, and she wondered why it didn't go well. And it was purple and it had white swirls. And here, and it was extremely distracting. I'm sure close up it may have looked okay, but 20 feet away, it became a situation where we saw that. A week later, she changed suits and won at the Masters. So this suit is important. Anything on you has to accentuate you, not take away from your look. Bill talked earlier about accessories. No ankle bracelets. You can have a bracelet and a ring and a small bracelet. Not two big Power Ranger bracelets. If we remember them, if Bill remembers your accents, something's going wrong.
This division, I've noticed a lot recently, ladies have been wearing chokers, which is allowed, they're allowed, you know, but it really throws the look off, and that's all our eyes went to.
Would you like to tell them, or should I?
Go.
Don't wear chokers.
So,
But I've seen, the figure division is the one that I have noticed over the years go a little overboard in the suits and a little overboard with some of the accessories, but especially the suits. trying to get things to stand out more, and it really doesn't work
Well, we
that well.
started to see those things that were some kind of it was a big, bright gold thing that came up here all the way up into your forearm.
The chain hooked on.
Yeah, this division, for some reason, really likes to push the envelope with accessories and suit ornation.
You gotta help us pick you. So let's talk about hair. Short hair can work fine. If you have long hair, wear it down, because sometimes your face starts to get that little more athletic look as you get more conditioned. And softer, longer hair can help that. Curly or straight, do you have a
No preference.
curly
Whatever
or
you're
straight?
comfortable and you like the
No
best.
one cares.
And the other thing is, with this division, you do want to pull your hair out of your way in your back poses, as opposed to bikini and wellness. You want to leave that down in your back.
I should preempt this by saying that anything we tell you today doesn't mean it's cast in concrete. It just means that it's our very humble opinion. Take photos, videos of yourself every week to 2 weeks in your prep, so that you then see what we see, which is the big picture. If you do it looking in a mirror, you see the reverse image, which is skewed in and of itself. Plus, I guarantee you're looking at something you either like or don't like about your body, and you miss the big picture. How many times we've been at a show and Bill's going to critique a girl who's coming in for another show, and she does some bizarre stance, and I can remember the one time you said, "What the hell is that?" And she said, "Well, I hate my oblique." Well, she tried to fix her oblique and screwed up the whole stance. So please video and photos so you can see the big picture. Tattoos.
Just normal tan over them, preferably. You know what I mean? Because the cover up that they use, a lot of times it makes the skin look thicker and takes away more of the definition than the actual tattoo does.
We don't judge down for them.
Nope.
If you go with a cover up, it's either darker or extremely light, and then it diminishes your look. There's no reason in life to pull your hair up. If anything, it just
Makes you look leaner.
yeah. Talk briefly about this idea of hardness. Get back to that again. That you want to see separation, but not so hard.
Right. Like I said, the key is separation. We're not looking for vascularity. We're not looking for striations. We're not looking for those deep lines through the hamstrings. It's okay if they have lines in them back there and show the separation, but not that gnarly hard like the other women's physique and women's bodybuilding we're looking for.
Your earrings, as an accent, should not travel down into your connectors. If you've got, let's say you've got some bling connectors, your earrings should not travel down into them. Because then when we look up at you, it's bling the whole way. And our eyes tend to go to that. Our eyes need to be going to you. The biggest question we're asked is, do you need implants to win? You don't. Absolutely not.
The girl that just won overalls at USA's in December, didn't have them and would have walked into a pro show and been in the top 3.
More often than not, it's gone the reverse, where someone's gotten those and
Too
there's
much.
no balance.
Right.
So, yeah. Do you have questions? There are no dumb questions today.
The other thing with makeup and tan, make sure there's a separation. There's a lot of times we see girls that it's so monotone top to bottom, and then with the suit also. So the makeup, make sure that's different than the spray tan, you know.
So, who in here is good at hair and makeup?
And if you,
That means that you're not. And you freely admit it, so get it done by professionals.
yeah, say you do great makeup on your own at home, it's not quite the same as on stage. So
Whoever you go to, get a referral, see who they've done on stage. There are some great makeup artists who have not done competition makeup. They've done great weddings, portfolios, proms, who knows what. However, competition makeup's another trip, Because a lot of times they think the bright lights mean you need to go heavier. And it's not the case. So go to people who have referrals and they've done past competitions. So you get it done right. Because every great body there is, these figure and bikini contests eventually turn into a beauty contest at some point. And like Bill said, if your makeup is out to lunch, or if your hair is not done right, and a judge next to me says, do you think this girl could have run a brush through her hair? Something's gone sideways. You've got to help us pick you. And getting in great shape's just one component. Now, something Bill mentioned about the makeup. So when you go to get that done, you got to have a discussion with the makeup artist, because the question is, do they want you to get one spray tan or not? Sometimes what they want to do is tan your body, and the makeup artist will make you match that by the makeup they use. So you got to have a conversation with them so that you can then tell the makeup, the spray people, no, I don't want to spray on my face, or yes, I do. One of the mistakes people make sometimes is what's called the light bulb effect, where they come out and they're spray tanned here and their face is too bright, and it just looks like a light bulb.
We see it at all levels, professional.
Distracting as
amateur,
hell. So cover every component, please. Help us pick you. Becomes a beauty pageant at some point. Questions? Talk about, please, this idea of balance and how pumping up relates to that.
Say you have a strong suit. Say your shoulders are big. Maybe don't pump your shoulders up before you get on stage. Or you're a little leg dominant, so you don't want to do any extra stuff to pump those legs up to make them pop more. Know your body, know what areas you need to pump up to help balance the physique out. Because the key is, in every division, is balance, top to bottom, front to back. You know, no one body part really stands out. So the more balanced you are, usually the better. You know what I mean? You don't want overpowering arms and shoulders and then missing lats or not enough legs, things like that. So work on overall balance. It is really the biggest factor in these divisions.
I can brag on our judges every day, because what we did 5 years ago when Tyler Mannion came on as vice president, we developed a system of training judges, and then in fact training head judges. So these folks are not there on a whim. Point is, they've been trained that from the second you walk on stage.
Pull up, like, how you pull up, baby? How you pull up? How you pull up? Step in the kitchen. Let's go. Brand new Lamborghini, cop car.
Judge you and his crew of judges without torturing you with repetitive turns and call-outs. Now, what they put you on stage means nothing relative to your placing. People will text me after the show and go, you know, I was in the middle the whole time and I didn't win. How can that be? I go, because they were just comparing you to other bodies. It means nothing that you were in the middle. Generally what we try to do actually is put 4 or 6 people up. That way there is no middle. But even then, it's still a comparison of bodies. So where you're on stage means nothing.
And as judges, we communicate with each other. You know, they may know that we're looking at the 2 on the left. You know what I mean? All the other judges will know where we're looking. So that placement on stage is kind of just a guideline. So even if you see numbers down there, like I said, we try and do even numbers for that reason. And then the other thing, practice in heels, live in your heels. If you're not someone that is confident walking in heels, clean your house in heels. Do whatever you can. Because this is the division also we see the most shaking in when they're trying to pose.
And one friend of ours, his wife competes, he goes, it's competition time. She's in those heels every night. But you make a good point. This stage is a perfect example of that. At the Pittsburgh Championships, it's hardwood floor.
Yep.
You go to Ohio, it's sport court. The North America is indoor, outdoor carpeting,
Carpeting.
and this is whatever this is. And so when you go to a contest, depending on what you've been practicing on, you need to get yourself on stage with your heels on to try it. Because your walk is a large part of this. If you do a great presentation in that box, and then you leave and go back to the diagonal line, we're obviously following you to get to the next girl. And if you walk back to that line like me, that's not too good. You gotta have this together. With your booty up, arched up, get this right. And that only comes with practice.
The other thing is when you're walking from that box, the sideways walk. Don't do it. You've seen a lot of girls do it. They try and look at you and walk this way the whole time. It just does not look right. It throws your lines off.
Hate it.
That is one of the biggest pet peeves in this division of bikini
Not to
division.
mention they
to
walk
do.
into somebody.
Right, without a doubt, because they keep doing it all the way to the edge. Don't do that.
It's the most annoying thing. That's the big joker.
Yeah, yep.
No chokers. What else, man? Questions, ladies? There must be questions. Oh, I feel this question.
The other thing is where you wear your suit. You know, it's a little different from figure and bikini. Keep them high where they're supposed to be. A lot of girls like to push them down, and it throws. They're both worn right where they're supposed to be.
The side should be in line with your neighbor.
Yep, a lot of girls like to push those down, or they wear the other connectors, and it throws the lines off. It throws the symmetry off.
Creates a natural beat.
Right, it throws the balance off. So make sure you wear your suit properly.
These heels work. Platforms in front don't. It skews your look.
Not too high.
I mean, these heels, basic heels are fine.
Yep.
No platforms in front.
Those 3 or 4-inch platforms in the front. You know, a lot of times girls are all in the same height division too. And then that throws a lot of that off. You know, and a lot of girls think that gives them an advantage, especially I see that in the A classes. They want to get that extra height and then they're taller than everyone in that class with that. And it really throws things off. I wouldn't go any higher than those type of heels right there in the front.
Nails, something mild, French would be good. Toenails, your feet are at the level of the judge's eyes. So when we look up, it's the first thing we see. There's some nasty toenails hanging over there. That's not too good. They do make these things called grippies. That if your shoes have, you stick them in your trunk on a hot summer day, these things will loosen up, and then you put your shoes on and your toenails hang over the front. If they're nasty, nobody needs to see that. So get the grippies, they go in, the suit fits good, shoes fit good, and then you get a French thing done, and then I don't have Bill in my ear saying, look at those girls' nasty toenails.
The other thing is the fingernails. I know a lot of you like them long and everything like that. If you do that and then put a bright color on, every time you move your hands, all we see, you know, whether it's a white, a bright yellow, or something like that, and the nails are long, all we see is your hands, and that's where our eyes go, because it's distracting sometimes. So just don't overdo the length. Anything that takes our eyes away from your body is not what you're looking for.
I want to go with tassels.
So,
You want to keep it about the physique. So anything that can be too distracting, that we remember you for the wrong reasons, is never a good thing.
Help us pick you. All right, you're going to put them through this.
Go ahead up in the front poses. Now, ladies, you guys only have 4 poses. So, you know, some of the other divisions got 5, 7, 8. So you've got to learn to nail them all, okay?
So here's a couple of some tips. Ideally, heels together, toes are turned out slightly. Your hands should just be just outside your quads. Under duress, your fingers will curl, your wrists will curl, your elbows will curl, and you'll shrug. So you have to have a little bit of a mental checklist to make sure this doesn't happen. And 90% of the photos folks send us, they say, what do you think I should have done? It's drop your shoulders. Because under tension, you go like this. Just drop them. So be careful with that. Chin up all the time, please. Heels together, please. Heels together. Good. Good.
Some people need to bend, someone's already done it. There you go. You only let that one side go.
That's right.
Using this. Right there. So, right here. See how you get a little bit of so a lot of close grips now will really help that and straight up and down the hip ring. So very good. Quarter turn to your right. Now, with this, the transitions, I recommend you get a good posing coach or woman. Someone like Gary and I can't really teach transitions well. We don't know how to quite move that way to keep it looking fluid. So get a good person to help you with those transitions and with your 30-second routine.
So the key to this is, when you make that turn, keep your shoulders even, please. And just all you are is on a gyroscope. And then as you turn, you twist, and you start to feel it here in your torso, and it creates a side V taper. That's kind of what you want.
Trapped on up there. Good. Just don't over pull that back. Yep, so right there.
It's just like you're on a gyroscope, just make that twist like this. Nothing extra with your traps and shoulders, because then they take over the stance.
Face the rear.
This stance is identical to your front. Chin up.
Chest up, or you got more here. You got more there. Good. Don't just leave your hands like that. Kind of soften them like this. Lift the hands just soft. You got more there. A little more. Chin up. Focus up. Bring this down. Stand up more. Good. You can spread that out just a little more. You gotta work on that mind muscle back connection right there. Bring back. Quarter turn. Yeah, no worries. You're doing great. Just twist it a little more. Good. Face front.
Yeah, I'd like to, so that was the comparison run. So I want to try to show you some ideas of the presentation. When you do the presentation, your obligation is a front stance first. You must do that. After that, you have the option of 3 other stances of your choice. If your back stance is so bad you can't stand it, don't do it. We'll figure that out later. You can do start this way, that way, do one side, not the other. Up to you.
And when you're preparing for this, figure you have about 20 seconds. You know what I mean?
You hold
To
each
do your,
stance 2 counts. 1001, 1002. The photographer works on that schedule. 1001, click 1002. In that box. Okay? So let's try some of these. I'm going to give you an idea of a sample presentation. Okay? Front stance first. 1001, 1002, quarter turn to the right. Put your left heel by your right instep. Left heel by your right instep. Okay. Now, let's try this. Left hand on your hip, please. Drop it right. Good. Okay. Get this way. Good. You do this. Always bend that wrist because it gives you a casual look. You keep it stiff, it tends to look tense. Okay, switch hands, please. Switch hands. Good. So I would ask that you try all of these when you do this. Somewhere in there is the right stance for your physique. Okay, drop both hands, please. Stand up, arch, come on, pick it up. Turn this way. The same thing, just drop both hands. So, it's not a bad stance like that. Both hands are down. Postured up. This stance right here, put your left hand on your left hip. Bend the wrist. This is the stance you use on the diagonal line. Your number is right below your hand. Postured up. When you're on the diagonal line waiting to do your presentation, and it may be a while, this is the stance. On either diagonal line, it's the same one. All right, so then you start to cramp up in your shoulders, switch hands. As long as there's not too much movement. If you switch hands, good to go. Any of these will work as a presentation pose. All right? 1001, 1002, face the rear. Standard rear stance. Good posture, chin up please. 1001, 1002, quarter turn. Your right heel by your left instep. And it starts again, put your right hand on your hip. Switch hands, ladies. Now you may have to ask yourself, where's the spot for your hand? The only way you figure this out is by video and or camera. Pick it up some more. Somewhere in there is the right spot for her hand. Drop it down. Drop both hands. So if you're in that diagonal line and you start to cramp up, you can do this as long as you're postured up. Right hand on your right hip. 1001, 1002, left arm up, and you walk off.
another thing, women's figure, don't do front lat spreads. A lot of girls this year started doing in their presentations. They'd come out and they'd stand in a front lat spread first and then pull up. Certain girls can pull it off, certain girls can't. So just because you see a lot of the pros doing that now, I wouldn't recommend doing that yet. You know?
Questions?
I have a question. When you do your side pose now, do you think that for some figures it looks better like this?
Absolutely. Depending on your physique, size of your legs, what you want to show or not show, you can easily bend your leg like that, or you can lock it. Up to you.
Once again, get the camera out, bunch of pictures in both ways, and look at it.
Try it and see the video. That way you can see what we see, which is the big picture. This is what you have to tailor things to. Questions? Any of those works. As long as you're postured up, good to go. Anytime you're on a diagonal line, or if you're on this line, anytime your number is called, raise your arm. That way it shows that you heard your number. The expediter can come and help you. Go either way. When you finish that last, do that last stance facing that way. And you finish your presentation, and you raise your left arm, not your right.
Back arm. Try not to raise the front one.
Protein and sweat looks bad on your underarm. No one needs to see that. Questions, ladies?
Next group.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Slide down. Please slide down.
Phil. Indiana's that dropped out. Indiana?
It's 186.
Indiana.
I know the name, but yeah.
I look just like him.
A little before my time, still here. You gotta wait till about 97.
Before my time too, technically.
Okay, ladies, so here's the deal. You've seen it. Now it's time to do it. Stand up in the front stance.
Just make sure you feel that cool back there.
I want to turn to the right in comparison now. Face the rear, ladies.
Quarter turn. Face front. With your hands.
Try to keep them soft. A lot of the girls go rigid, almost like they're trying to stab something. So just work on softer way with your hands. So,
When you got the girls on the down the line, you're always facing face front.
So,
You know you're
here's the judges. Diagonal lines right here. Like this. So, say you're here. Your number's gonna be on your left side. So you want that facing us as best you can. Whenever you don't have to go quite that far. You know what I mean? And you want to be in a comfortable position. So it's a little harder.
That numbers board out there?
So then you can put it
Usually
right
an
there.
exit sign there.
And then your number's right here. Or those are right there. And then you can just play with that. But judges that way. And then that way the judge should see your numbers.
If you look down at the judges,
That's up to you. You can do like 2 fingers, 4 fingers.
so you don't need, you hear trainers say, make eye contact with the judges.
We don't like that. Like, there's a lot of times, like,
I shouldn't be looking at your eyes anyway.
right. No, these classes are going to be big when we get to bigger levels. And there'll be girls lined up on the side, some still doing their routine. And we're looking at the girls on the side, so we want to see them next to each other, trying to figure out who we want our top 5. And a lot of times we'll look up and start to look at you, and then girls start dancing basically. They start moving from one side to the other and doing things like just stay in your best position. So really just trying to assess your physique. So the more you start moving, I'm just going to move on to the next person because I can't get a good look at you anyway. So then the more you're moving on that sideline, the less we usually end up looking at you because we can't get a good judge of your physique. So just get in that best stance. If you get tired on one side, just switch to the other. But nothing too crazy. And then, like you said, look right above us. You know what I mean?
what about the nerves shaking?
Presentation.
Dying.
Front stance, please.
Sorry.
Quarter turn to the right. Just start with your left hand and your left hip.
There we go.
This is a presentation round, so you can look at us now. So this will be when you're in that box by yourself. So you can go from that front pose right to this one, and then you can look down at us before you turn. This isn't for judging, this is just that.
Okay, so stay right there, switch hands. So you gotta try these and get photos taken, see which one you like best.
So you're right here. But you just don't want like things sticking out. A lot of people need the wrist and adjust the wrist here, drop the shoulders. Right, we get it, so you don't want to do that.
Try dropping both hands. Stay posture up.
Drop that one shoulder, bring that one up higher. Try to keep the fingers loose, fingers loose.
Okay, face the rear, ladies. (1001), 1002, face the quarter turn. Quarter turn. Right hand on your right hip, please. Makes a difference, for sure. If you want to figure this out. There you go. Switch hands, please. So please try all of these in your preparation. You may find one that you like that you've never tried before. Three hands. Elbow forward.
See, I'm glad you're behind.
You're much better with that.
Drop both hands, ladies. Right hand on your right hip. 1001, 1002. Back on. Good job.
Thank you.
Question?
Does the shaking throw you off?
Just keep practicing, it'll go away.
Is it what?
Shaking.
Sorry, I was looking for. Cool. Good job, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta find something to do with them too. Cause I was supposed to last year. Yeah, 59. I will, I'll bring it.
The Amy, yeah, I told you to say hi.
Run back and forth.
You really gotta.
Everything stays up the whole way out here. Every time you hit that pose, you do that turn, you know what I mean? You don't drop.
Thank you.
I will. I told him I was coming here. He's like, tell Gary I said hi.
Huh?